All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Trucking California with Velox 18. It is the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the end of my work relationship with Silva Trucking. I have been an owner-operator leased on with Silva Trucking in Stockton or French Camp, California, for 4 years. It's actually almost 4 years to the day. It's kind of weird, but I'm gonna do a little farewell to them. This week will be my last week here, and a few weeks ago I thought they were trying to punish me for leaving because they sat me at home for a few days, which was unusual. But since then they've been getting me work, making sure I have money leading up to when I'm taking off, making sure that I'm not left high and dry here just because I'm not gonna be here long term. And so it's really cool. They've been treating me well, and they've treated me well for the entire 5+ years that I've been here. 5 years, and 4 of that has been as an owner operator. So I came here with only like 6-7 months experience trucking, and yeah, these guys have been good to me. So I'm gonna tell you guys all of my favorite things about Silva Trucking, and so stay tuned. All right, what's going on, people? I could probably just use the same video footage and just re-record my voice on the computer each time I want to make a video, because I'm always recording in the same spots. That's kind of funny. But yeah, today we're going to talk about Silva Trucking and all of my favorite things that have happened, my best memories. And so I'll start with the very beginning. The very beginning of coming to Silva Trucking. They require, according to their website, require 2 years experience to come to Silva Trucking and run over here. And I came to them with 6 months experience, and they gave me a chance. My brother already was an owner operator here, so I had my foot in the door, and so I took full advantage of that and cashed in that favor, and kind of got started over here and really got my trucking career moving towards where I'm at now, which is starting my own authority. And that was the move. Once I started at Silva, that was the move that got me going on the path to where I'm at now. Up until then, I kind of didn't know if I was going to go try and find a union job after I got 2 years experience, if I was going to what the world had for me. But I just kind of knew once I started here that I was going to be moving towards getting my becoming an owner operator, buying a truck, and then that would propel me towards getting my own authority. And so they hired me after only 6 months experience driving a truck. So yeah, that's number one, just giving me a shot. All right, so the next number 2 most awesome thing about Silva Trucking that I've experienced is that it is all local work. I never had to spend the night anywhere. I was never left out over a weekend. I was never left out overnight. I mean, I work overnight, but I was never too far away from home. If you're going to run out of hours out on the road, even as a local driver, you run out of hours, they'll send someone in a pickup to come rescue you and bring you back. So yeah, I loved being after 4 months of doing drive-in freight and running in a sleeper truck back to LA and back. I was very happy to be home every single day, and yeah, to be always local all the time, all local all the time. So yeah, that was number 2. All right, and number three is that I've had almost every weekend off since I've been here. And that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but they really don't have a ton of weekend work. Sulphur actually has more weekend work than any of the other stuff that they did. But when I was a company driver at Silva Trucking, they do port work. And so it was day shift, 4 a.m. to whenever you could get done with your work that day, between, maybe 2 p.m. if it was a little bit slower, or 6 p.m. if it was busy. And I was pretty much always home for dinner. And I um, definitely had to kind of get my sleep in, waking up that early. But home in time for dinner every evening and weekends off. It allowed me to do a lot of things at some pivotal times in my kids' lives, being local, that I just would not have been able to do if I was doing another type of trucking. Most people have to start out, if you only got 6 months experience, you got to start out on long haul of some sort. And so it was amazing to be able to be at almost, I don't know how many baseball games I missed of my son Miles's little league career, but it wasn't very many. Let me just put it to you like that. I did not miss very many little league games. I got to see him throw a no hitter. He was 1 out away from a complete game no hitter when he was 12 years old, and they just missed getting a double play on his last batter he could face, because they have a pitch limit in Little League. And so anyway, so I have all these vivid memories that involve my children, my daughter Lucy doing cheer, Maggie playing softball, and winning pretty much every award you can win at school. And so I've been able to go to those things and be a part of those things more than I would have if I was over the road. Definitely more than if I was over the road. So yeah, I'm really thankful that we get weekends off over here most of the time. And it's almost all day shift work when you're a company driver. And then when I moved into Sulphur, it was night work. But I was working towards becoming an owner operator, and so that was kind of my direction I was going for my career, and worked at night. But I still had weekends off. I'd say I probably worked on average about 7 or 8 weekends a year. So, and when I say weekends, I just mean Friday night to Saturday morning, and it's usually one of the lighter days of work. So I'd only work about 8 hours or so. So it was kind of cool. So yep, that's one of my favorite things too. The next best thing I want to talk about out of this list of things that I love about Silva Trucking, the next thing I love about Silva Trucking is once I became an owner operator. Well, first, why don't we just say that they gave me a chance to become an owner operator with only a year and a half driving experience, and I was not. I was not one of those guys with like a year and a half experience and I could like take apart an engine and put it back together and that kind of thing. Like, I'm not one of those trucking guys that's like grown up around it. I'm like, I'm married into it, and I've been learning little by little for the last little while. So yeah, a year and a half experience, and they let me buy my own truck and get started. And that's when everything changed for me and my family, was when that happened. We were able to get some significant, income coming in. They helped arrange the financing for me to buy my first truck, and so pretty awesome, pretty awesome thing. That, I mean, everything goes back to that moment when I bought that first truck and started my business as an owner operator. So crazy stuff. Okay, then I guess the next thing would be related to that. My truck broke down, which is inevitable, but I didn't have money saved up. I had no savings, and Silva Trucking paid for my truck to get repaired. And I'll tell you, over a 16-month period, they fronted $31,000 in tires, maintenance, and repairs. $31,000, and allowed me to pay it back to them through my checks over the next 2 years. It took about 2 years to pay off, but they allowed me to pay them off in increments that were just decided by the revenue. So if I had a small week, low revenue week, they wouldn't take anything out. They'd let me keep all of my money for my family, to feed my family, to pay my bills. But if I had a big week, I'd chunk off a big chunk of my debt with them. And I know a lot of places do that. Um, a lot of carriers, bigger carriers, mega carriers will do that. Well, this is a smaller carrier. And not only did they do that, and they didn't charge us any interest or convenience fee. There was no fees involved, nothing. It's just they want they want to take care of their people because they want long-term relationships with their owner operators. And yeah, believe me, if there's a lot of guys who've been here more than 10 years, so I'm kind of the anomaly here, kind of leaving a good thing. But yeah, so that was definitely one of my favorite things about being an owner operator at Silva Trucking is they just took care of you. They made sure, and I should include in that not just the repair bills, but your registration. If your registration comes up and you're like, hey, you know what, this happened or that happened, and I don't have any money set aside for my registration. Like I said, I was not prepared to be an owner operator when I bought my truck. I I didn't even I didn't have like an account for all those things. I didn't understand how quickly the money would would go away once the truck broke down. So they yeah they kept me driving, kept me registered, kept my heavy road tax paid, kept everything going. Um, you know, when I was deep in debt, and like I said, did it without any fees attached, without any interest at all. Just really, I mean, honestly, you can just say it's out of the kindness and generosity of their hearts that they do that. So, I mean, and I know it's mutually beneficial. They want their loads hauled, and if I go out of business, they have one less truck available to them. But they also can get burned pretty easily if guys take advantage of them and try to milk it. So, they yeah, it is not typical carrier behavior to be as generous as Silva Trucking has been. So I'll just say that. Okay, the next thing I love about Silva Trucking, and I know I've said this before, but we've got Paige in the back office. She's the compliance lady, and I swear to you, she has literally kept me from going insane for the last 4 years. She takes care of everything. Things that she doesn't even need or that's not in her job description to take care of for an owner operator. She will take care of them. She will step up and do things. She knows, we work nights and that I have a commute. And so she has just gone above and beyond to help me out. She's even waited in line for me at DMV, gone to DMV to get stuff situated with my truck. She makes sure that we're current on all things that include even our medical cards. As truck drivers and especially as owner operators, we should be, in charge of when our medical cards need to be renewed and when we need to go get our DOT physicals. But you know what? Getting a reminder text from her is like, oh, that is coming up. I'm glad she texted me because I would have forgot. I know I would have because I hadn't even thought about it for like 6 months. And then all of a sudden, Paige sends me a text and I'm like, oh man, yeah, I need to go do that. And then you say, okay, cool. And then she says, would you like me to make an appointment for you? And it's like, yeah. And then Silva Trucking would front the bill for that. And you're like, all right, cool. And that's the same thing with the kind of workplace safety we'd have to do to get into a couple of the refineries. Our mask fit tests. We'd have to go and get our fit test cards at this mask fitting place. And so they would keep track of all that stuff, make sure we were current on all that stuff, and set us up with appointments. I mean, really just took care of us like babies, like the toddlers we are as owner operators. So it was it made life so easy, just so easy. I can't even tell you how much time and stress and energy Paige has saved me over the last 4 years. So that's definitely up there on the list of things that I love about Silva Trucking. All right, I need to tell you this little anecdote from when I was a company driver. So I was a company driver, and I was trying to put in, 70 hours a week because, um, they pay overtime after 40 hours. And so if you don't get to 40 hours, the hourly wage that they were paying back, 4.5 years ago, wasn't enough for me to like provide for my three kids and my pregnant wife at the time before Gus was born. We couldn't make it on me working like 40, 45 hours. That just, I mean, we were kind of, we were hurting. It was kind of the slower season where the port slows down, and I was doing port work. And so I went in to talk to the head dispatcher, which is also the owner's son, and I just said, "Hey, man, like I got to figure something out. You guys don't have enough work. I might have to go look for work somewhere else." And he just stopped me short. He said, "Nick, don't do that. Don't do that." And he went over to my pay sheet, where you log in all your work for the week and the hours it takes you. And he just wrote a big old fat 70 down at the bottom in my total hours, and then signed his name by it, approving, me to get paid for 70 hours. And this was on like had to be like a Tuesday, I think. So it was on a Tuesday afternoon. So I still had 3 days left to work. And I think I ended up putting in like an actual like 48-hour week that week or something like that, maybe like 46. And I got paid for 70 hours, 30 hours of overtime. And um, that that was freaking awesome, dude. That was a cool moment. That was when I knew, like, this is all right. This is a cool place. And that's when I knew they were making good money too. No, I'm joking. And I'll tell you, it wasn't the only time he did that. So, and I kind of told some other guys. I know I wasn't supposed to tell anyone. Now I just told the whole internet. But I wasn't supposed to tell anyone. But then when I talked to other guys, a couple years later, and told them about that story, they said he had done the same thing for them at different points. So I know that it's not. It's not like they do it every week to everyone. It's not like people are on salary around there all over the place. But at the same time, they don't mess with people. They know that we got families to feed. They know that we're trying to work our butts off to make money for our families, and in turn that makes them money. And so they want to take care of the guys that want to work the hardest. The guys that don't try to milk it for their 11 or 12 hours and then try to go home. But the guys who do twice as much work in 14 hours as the guys who do 12 hours. So, I think they recognize that, and they reward guys for that when they need to. And so, anyway, so that was an awesome moment. Definitely something I'll always remember from Silva Trucking. Okay, one of the other things I love about Silva Trucking is the shop. Working nights, getting your truck worked on can be a bit of a headache. But these guys, I would get off at like 5 or 6 in the morning, and I would park my truck in front of the shop, and I'd just leave a note. I'd leave a note, and I would go home and I would go to sleep, and then I'd wake up and I'd call and I'd say, "Hey, did the shop see my note?" Call the dispatcher. Wouldn't even call the shop directly. I just called the dispatcher, and he'd say, "Yep, they already got it done. It's back in your spot. You're ready to roll." And so I go and I hop in my truck. I mean, literally zero time took out of my day, out of my time. So I would put in my, whatever, however long I was working that day, 13, 14 hours, 12 to 14. And then I would park the truck, go home, get my sleep, come back, and my truck would have repairs done to it, and I'd be able just to work the very next night, 12 to 14 hours again. And so, I mean, that's where do you get that kind of treatment? Where you can just park the truck and they'll take care of stuff for you, and then, I'll be honest, they gave us for a long time they gave us a discount on the labor as well. They gave us a great discount on the labor. Like sometimes they wouldn't even charge us labor for little things, like at all. And when I say little things, I mean maybe not so little things sometimes. If there was big engine work that needed to be done, they'd send it out to another shop. But like, if you needed, like I would have like airbags and airlines and glad hands and um, air leaks behind the dash and stuff like that. And these guys, these guys would, I'd end up with an invoice in my box just for the parts, and that's it. And sometimes not even that. Sometimes they'd put something on the truck, and I'd kind of be waiting for that invoice, and then you're like, man, I think they forgot they did it. I think they forgot to write it down or something. And you never ask them because you're like, I don't want to remind them if they did forget. But then you find out, from a lot of guys, it's kind of just the way they would do it. They wanted to keep us rolling, and so they did. They did a lot of that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, definitely love that. Love the shop setup. It's a little different now. They don't seem to forget as often, but definitely when my truck was going in and out of the shop a lot, they would help me out a lot, a ton. Like I said, they don't want you to fail. They want us to succeed as owner operators. So they work their butts off to help us do that. One of the things that I can't even really get into in detail is how this company has treated my brother. And I know that doesn't really, it's not really my story to tell, but I'll just say that my brother was going through kind of the hardest season of life that human beings go through. Some of the hardest things that people have to deal with in life. And Silva Trucking was there for him, like above and beyond, and have stood behind him and been with him through a lot of things that they've earned my respect, like forever for that. My whole family has gratitude for the way that they've kind of handled that situation, and it's definitely been rad for me to be here and to see kind of firsthand how they treat people, and that my brother wasn't just a special case. They're just those kind of people at Silva Trucking. And so anyway, like I said, not my story to tell, so I can't get into details, but just know um, when there's stuff going on in the lives of their drivers, they step up and they've got their owner operators backs. That's for sure. They've got their backs. Okay, so that pretty much does it. That's my little run through of everything that I could think of the reasons why I love Silva Trucking, why they've been so good to me, why I will not hesitate to come back here if I fall flat on my face while I'm on my own authority. Uh, yeah, all of that, all of those are the reasons why this is not a bad gig. If anyone asks me online if they should come over here, I will tell them, if your goal is to be an owner operator, you should come over here. If you want to be local and you want to be an owner operator, this is not a bad place to come and get set up. There's not a lot of places where people make much more money as owner operators than we make here, if at all. And so, yeah, I fully endorse Silva Trucking. And yeah, so that's that, man. I mean, I'll be honest. The when I told the owner's son, the head dispatcher, that because he was asking me about my truck, said, "Hey man, why'd you build it so heavy? You're not gonna be able to run sulfur and make good money." And I said, "Yeah, so about that, I'm kind of building it for the future. Like I'm gonna be hauling, maybe some different stuff, and I probably won't be on sulfur forever." And he just kind of was like, "Okay, how long are you talking about? What are you saying?" And I'm like, well, nothing's for sure yet, so I don't want to say too much, but yeah, probably sooner rather than later. and he said, "Well, what does that mean? Like by this summer or sooner?" You know, uh, Getting this stimulus money from the government kind of puts me in a position. I just with 4 kids, I just got $8,000 put into my bank account the other day. So it's like I've got to use this, to put myself in a position, business wise. And so anyway, he It was super cool though, because when we had that conversation, I just said, hey, I really wanted to have more of a conversation with you guys. I wanted to sit down with you, sit down with your dad, and I wanted to just thank you guys for the opportunity and for everything. And I didn't really want to tell you over the phone while I'm driving. And he goes, Nick, you don't know us anything. You don't know us anything. And you ever need to come back, you're always welcome. You know we love you. No, no big deal. We love you. And so, just hearing those words from him, it was that was cool because I did feel like because they have helped me. Oh, I forgot to say, they've helped me with this truck rental. So my truck broke down. It spun a bearing. We put a bearing in it, but it's on its last legs. And I needed to run it just until I got my application approved for my voucher program, my trade-in program. And so once I got approved for that, then I could park it. And I've been renting a truck, and they're charging me more than I wanted to pay. But when you look around at how much it costs to rent a truck, from anywhere, any of the dealerships or anything, I'm paying significantly less than what it would cost me to rent a truck from other places. I almost forgot about that. But anyway, so that taking you back to my conversation with the owner's son. Um, he just basically said, that I don't owe them anything. And I kind of felt like I did a little bit because they had helped me out so much. They've been letting me rent this truck, and everything they do is with the long view in mind. Like I've said, they want to keep their owner operators happy so that they'll be here long term. So it's not that, I owe them anything, but there is definitely this like reciprocal relationship that is fostered by them. And so by me saying, hey, thanks for everything, I'm out. I didn't want to be the guy that, you know, takes all of the, all the generosity from someone and then bounces. But I also knew that I've made them a crap load of money in the last 4 years, and I've been running my butt off, and I know they're profiting off of that. And I know that that's the reason why they take care of drivers, is because we make the money. And so, anyway, so I kind of, it was really nice to just hear him say, hey, you don't owe us a dang thing, Nick. We love you. Good luck, and we'll have your back whenever you need to leave. We got you, and if you need to stay for longer, we got you. If you need to come back to us, you're always welcome. And so, anyway, so that's my final thing I'm going to say about Silva Trucking. Like I said, it's the beginning of the end, the first day of my last week, and so I just wanted to record this video to let you guys know, what Silva Trucking's like, and it's an awesome place. And I know I've said a lot of this stuff in other videos, but I haven't compiled it all in this. And I'll be honest, it's the way I'm feeling. I'm feeling a little nostalgic, and I'm feeling a little, a little, I don't know. It's bittersweet. It's bittersweet to be leaving Silva. I've grown as a trucker here so much. I've learned a ton being here. So, it's bittersweet, but it's good to be out and be starting my own thing. But it's also it's a fearful thing to be stepping out from underneath this safety net. This umbrella of protection that Silva Trucking has provided for me over the last 4 years as an owner operator. So anyway, much love to everybody. Appreciate you guys, and love you, Silva Trucking. Love you. All right, peace out.